sort of the thread through my career has been about collaboration. And collaboration in lots of different contexts. I practiced law for a while, did my MBA, and I've been doing design management for about 18 years. And the core of that is all about how do you get people to collaborate and get ideas from people. Ideas can come from anywhere, but they don't usually come from anywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something that's really uncomfortable and really annoying, and you're going to hate it until we're done with it. But I did this with a bunch of the profs from the business faculty here. I've done this with lots of clients, and when they're done with it, they love it, but at the beginning they hate it. So what we're going to do, it's going to be kind of awkward to do this, but we need to get in a circle right down here. But when you get together with a group of people that don't know each other, or where there's lots of social hierarchies, and you've got stuffed shirts, and you've got every sort of range, you need to break that stuff down, because you can't collaborate until you can at least be on the same sort of ground at some sort of level. And collaboration requires a certain level of humility. Business people are not by nature very humble individuals. And in fact, the idea of me going up and saying to Tasha, for example, say, hey Tasha, you know what, that idea you had, that was way better than my idea. Let's go with what you said. That's not what you learn in the business world. In fact, that's the kiss of death in most corporations. But until you can get people in a situation where they're comfortable doing that, you're not going to get the best ideas out of it. So goofy little exercises like this do a whole bunch of things. One is it breaks down the listening, barriers to active listening. So the first thing we did was dorky and stupid, but what it's meant to do is to break down some barriers, get everybody laughing a little bit. With you guys isn't a problem, but really what it does is it gets everybody listening to somebody else. You get used to actively listening. I have to listen for the name, I have to watch for the whatever the hand gesture, because I'm going to have to go do it right away. And so it gets people in the mindset of I'm going to listen to what you have to say, and I'm going to really understand it and do it myself. The next thing, when you're talking about your vacation, is you're getting used to building off of each other's ideas. And most of the time, when you're in a meeting and everybody's talking about what they need to talk about, they're taking turns, you're not listening to what Buddy is saying. You're not listening to what other people are saying. You're thinking about what you want to say most of the time. And that's just basic human nature. So when you're coming up with ideas and you're collaborating like this, it's a great way to start getting used to saying, okay, I heard what you just said. Now I'm going to build on it and make it better. Now, that's okay in practice, but does it work in theory? So let's think of what we do as business people. This is a river. Okay, we're trying to get from the present to the future. We've got plans right now, and we hope in the future that we get it right so that we can make lots of money. That's basically what we do. There's three sort of different ways to make a logical inference. Bear with me on this. So there's a deduction, right? Which is where you go from a general to a particular, and then you end up at X. So this is a logical certainty. So the classic example, Aristotle is man, all men are moral, therefore Aristotle is moral. Right? It's a logical certainty. In our world, so it's like a bridge. Sorry if my writing and drawing is really bad. I have skills in other areas, but drawing is one of them. So that's like a stone bridge. I will get over there. I know for sure I'm going to get to X. For sure. Another way to look at it, make an inference, is induction. Is this sounding vaguely familiar? So induction is more about probabilities. And that stupid little graphic there is supposed to be catapult. Sorry, I can't draw it well. So, right, you don't know where it's going to land, but you have a pretty good chance it's going to land somewhere around here. So what was my example? The right hand. So 90% of people are right-handed. Joe is a person, therefore he's probably going to be right-handed. Right? But you don't know for certain. It's not a logical certainty. This is what we do as business people a lot. Right? We focus on nailing down that certainty. So far, so good? Okay. What we just did was neither of these. What we just did was abduction. Abduction is really essentially you look for patterns. So there's particular things that you notice. This seems to work. This is true. This is true. This is true. I'm not really sure where this goes, but I think it'll end up at X. And what you end up doing is instead of launching it across, or instead of going across the stone bridge, you try it. It's like skipping a stone. We're going to prototype a solution. I think all of these patterns show me that I will get to X, but I'm not sure how I'm going to get there. So we're going to prototype. We're going to try it, see how it works. We're going to try it, see how it works. Try it until we get there. This is what the basis of design thinking is. Designers will try stuff and see how it feels, see how it looks. And they'll make a decision based on whatever data they've got. And then they'll try something else. They'll prototype it until they get to the point. Very different than the way we do from a business perspective, which is analysis, launch, hope for the best. This is, let's just try it. Really, the effort in induction is rationality. We're going to think our way to a solution. Abduction is more about what they call communicative reason, which is from Habermas, is the philosopher. Basically, truth comes from the discussion. Right? So if we're trying to come up with a great new airline, well, you can't spreadsheet your way to a great new airline. You got to come up with some ideas. Let's try this. Let's think about this. Let's try this. What about this? What about this? It's that process of skipping the stone that we'll call design thinking. So in terms of the effort, here we're all about reducing the risk. We want to increase that probability that when we pull that trigger, it's going to hit that X. And our careers are based on that, and that's what we do. Here, it's more about, again, prototype. Let's try it. Let's see what works. Let's see what works until we get there. So you got to have the right people in the room. Do we have the right people in the room here? Sure. Great ideas come from anywhere. Some people are great at coming up with ideas. But even people who come up with bad ideas, doesn't matter, because you're building. There it is. There's the stupid thing. Let's not do that. Let's build on that and build on that. That's okay, right? Because that's how the process works. Humility, again. In order to be collaborative and skip stones, you have to be able to say that prototype is not working. Your idea or our idea is a busted. We got to try something different. To do that, you have to have a level of humility, which is not bred into most business people, and that's why you have to do goofy things like this. It's a fake humility, and to get through that so that we can at least pretend that we're humble for a while. But when you're in business, as you know, there's hierarchy and then there's sub-hierarchies. You can't have hierarchies and expect to fail on a prototype that doesn't work. You can't have hierarchies and expect to skip that stone until you get there. You have to break through that. And goofy little things like this are ways that you can do that. I'm coming up with an analog of the problem. So the idea, let's say we're trying to come up with a new airline or new ideas for what airline. Well, let's prototype it by coming up with an analogous situation. What if somebody's a customer and they're coming to talk to us about the new airline? How would we sell it? And just create that microcosm of the problem and work that analog. Great stuff will come from it. Came up with really cool ideas about what this airline should be like, and let's start talking about that. And then you have a group discussion, you whiteboard it, you chart it out, and pretty soon you guys will then repeat as necessary. Again, we're skipping that stone across the river, and when we get there, we'll know it. Abduction is the basis for this type of collaboration. If it's got a fancy philosophical name, you know it's legit. So if anybody bugs you about it, just throw out abduction at them. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of view into, I feel like I've got a secret, how you can use an abductive approach, a prototyping approach, a collaborative approach to solve whatever sort of business problem you're going to have. So if you can find ways to effectively work together, come up with ideas together, even when it's not necessarily comfortable, then amazing things will happen.